Well, whether you love to hike, bike, walk the dog or run, Boise's trails are great for everyone. But during this time of year, those trails can get muddy, which could cause significant long-term damage to those trails. News Channel 7's Hector Mendoza joins us now to talk about the conditions of those trails and if there's any areas to avoid. Hector.
Well, Joe, we got some snow yesterday morning, so you can see in the video behind me that there's still some snow on those trails. So if you decide that you're going to head out to get some exercise, places like Lower Holes Trail, like you see behind me, those are covered in frozen snow, which is a good option. But how can you know a good trail from a bad one? Ridge to Rivers has a resource available just for you. This is an interactive map, which is the resource we were talking about that could help you when you go out to some of those trails. We do have some of that snow that's on there, which could make some of these trails a little muddier once that snow starts to melt over. So that's indicated there in those orange areas here. It says muddy possible, so it may need to turn around and take an alternate route. But as for all the rest of the conditions, it looks like most of the trails are in good conditions. That is signaled there in the blue, and so it'll be great to enjoy some of these trails and see some of that snow on those trails. But when it comes to some of the closures, there are some in the area, and we see that there is one here close by on Old Penn. That place is closed because of that winter condition, which is keeping those trails a lot muddier than most other areas that are seeing some of that frozen snow that it's on there that's keeping those conditions good. But I did speak to David Gordon, the division manager for Ridge to Rivers, and he says that even though some of these trails are still in good conditions, many of them could start to get muddy once you start to see the snow shine through those clouds and melt that snow. So Gordon says that it's very important to make sure not to walk on the trails if they're muddy, to make sure to preserve them for future generations.
When you're traveling on a muddy trail, that's when the most damage to trails occurs. We see the most damage to our system during winter months. If people are walking off the trail to avoid the mud, the trail becomes wider and wider, and now we're losing our narrow trails, we're getting little roads. And the wider the trail is, the more erosive it becomes. So there's a reason that we ask people to stay off the trails if they are muddy.
Gordon says that waiting for the right conditions now will pay off for the rest of the year to keep the trails in good shape for the spring, summer, and fall months. So, Joe, people can go to ridgetorivers.org for the interactive map and to get daily updates on the trail conditions. Ridge to Rivers also posts updates on their Facebook page daily, and that will get updated at 8 a.m. every single day.
And that website you were showing is so useful because, as you touched on, if you have a plan of where you want to go out, it's not going to just say you can't go. It's going to say, well, don't go to this one. Here are some better options.
Right. They even say sometimes that there's certain trails that there's clear on some spots and muddy on other spots. It'll also tell you that information on that interactive map.
There you go. News you can use. Hector reporting here on the News at 6. Thank you so much.